Okay then. So today in this episode from Wings of Duty on the iOS, I'm going to show you how to dogfight with the SBD Dauntless. So I start here off in realistic mode, taking off, and the SBD Dauntless wasn't really designed to dogfight, but in some cases you'll have to dogfight with it. Yes, it has a back gunner, but he's basically useless if you're being tailed by someone with 20mm cannon shells, because they'll just tear right through this thing. Even though this thing's very durable, it can take tons of hits from it, but it'll just go down before you can even get enough shots off, unless you're super accurate with the back gunner. So, I'm heading towards the objective right now, and I'm going to see if I can encounter any enemies, and then we'll try to take them out with our main guns and use the back gun only if we have to. If you're only here for the dogfighting part, skip through this part, but I'm going to do a little bit of I'm going to do a tour of the Dauntless. So, the seat sort of blocks your back view, so you can't really look around at back, so you have to go in third person or go upside down or something. You'll have to turn a lot. So right there's the speedometer, then we have the altitude meter, and then we have like the angle of climb type thing. We also have the thing to show how balanced you are, and then we have another one of those to show like your elevation and stuff when you're climbing. Then we also have your fuel and your manifold pressure and oil temperature and stuff, but I don't even know if that works. I know the manifold pressure kind of works, but I don't know if the oil, I don't think the oil pressure overheating in this game yet. So this is your back gunner. He doesn't have a really nice view, so sometimes you'll have to turn upside down and let him shoot, or you should dive down and try to force your enemy to stay above you, which is sometimes really hard to do, and a lot of times it's not worth trying to do it. But if you can get a few good hits on their engine, you can shut them down or get them to turn away, but usually they won't. So I'll meet you at the objective, or if I see any planes. So right there, you can see that black dot there. That's an enemy fighter, and from this distance, you can't really tell what he's in. But I'm more than certain he's an enemy fighter because he's flying towards our objective, and there's also not any U.S. planes on, so he has to be an enemy. So with the Dauntless, you want to always avoid getting into the vertical fight. You always want to force the enemy into the turn. And your goal with the Dauntless is not really to dogfight. You want to avoid fights if you can, but I'm going to show you dogfighting, so I'm going to, turn into him and try to get him. You always want to try to get the sneak or act like you're not going to go for him and then just turn straight into him. Japanese planes are very weak, so you're easily able to shoot him down with 50 cals on a head-on-head. So it looks like he spotted me, he's turning in. So I'm going to try to flip over him, and my back gunner will get a couple shots in, but of course he's going to miss. And right now I'm looking for him. You can see him up there in the right corner. So I'm turning into him right now. I'm trying to get a good angle. Because a good angle on this can, be the matter between a kill or not a kill. Always try to force your enemy lower to the ground, because otherwise he'll, try to gain altitude on you and stuff, and you don't want to get in an energy fight with the Dauntless, because it has no speed at all. So right now I'm trying to force him to go to a lower altitude, and now I'm going to try turning into him, because you never want to turn away from him, because then he'll get an angle and just start shooting you up. And it only takes one good strafe to take out the Dauntless, because the Japanese armament's pretty heavy, and this thing has a pretty light armament. So I have an angle, I'm going to take some shots off, but you're probably going to miss because this is a very bad angle. You want to try to get him to loosen up his turn and get on a straight, or have him, if he pulls up and starts losing speed, you might as well pull up with him just for a little bit, but don't go for the full flip, because you're going to stall and you're just going to crash. Right now I'm just taking shots off of him. And if you want to know where to aim to get your scope on him, it's at the bottom. If you can see the crosshair there, wherever that bottom one is, the bottom corner of it, it's like in the middle. That's where your shots will land. So you can try it. You don't even have to use the scope. You can just use that if you want. But I personally like the scope for some cases. But if I'm going to try leading on him like this, I don't want to use the scope. So I have a pretty good angle. I'm taking shots off, but I don't think I'm leading enough, because the Oscar is like 500. You know, it goes really fast. So I had a good angle there, but I just couldn't land my shots for some reason. I think, I definitely was not leading enough. Now I'm gonna try turning into him again, and this time he's gaining on me. He's winning this turn fight as of right now. So I'm gonna try to drop down a bit and cut him off, because you want to do a series of high and low turns so that he doesn't just get right behind you. And he made a fatal mistake and just loosened up his turn. Like, I don't know, he's trying to run away. He knows that I'm, you know, gonna kill him if he can't get his turning together. So he's running away, and of course he's faster. So I'm not gonna be able to chase him down. I'm just picking shots off at him. And this is fine, because the SVD Dauntless isn't really meant for killing, it's meant for bombing. So that's totally fine if he goes away and then you just left the game. So I'm going to turn away now and continue off the mission. Because your main mission with this thing is to drop your bombs and then get the heck out of there. And usually you want to have an escort to come with you. Like, you want to have someone in like a dogfighting plane like the F4U or something like that. Because this thing will not do well by itself on a 2v1. So you want to avoid that. So right now there's another plane there, and then there's another one on the carrier. And if he takes off, I can be in serious trouble, because a 2v1 doesn't really suit the Dauntless that well. Now, because I'm really close to the carriers, I want to try to avoid this person so I can just drop my bombs. So I'm trying to just keep my eye on him and just pretend like I don't see him. And it doesn't look like he sees me, but you never know. They might turn out of nowhere and just come at you, and you don't want that to happen. Usually you'll be alerted if your back gunner starts shooting at him, but by then it can possibly be too late if he just waits for the right time or just gets below the gunner's point of view. And you can always, to ensure that your gunner can get some hits off, you can always go upside down, and your gunner will have view of shooting downwards. But I think there's like a sweet spot for the enemy plane to get in to where your gunner just can't shoot him at all. But that's very hard to do. And if you're not controlling your back gunner, he's not very accurate. You probably should control it yourself. So right now I'm really close to the place, and I'm gonna try bombing that carrier. And you can see that plane's still on it. He's probably AFK or something. So I'm gonna try to get him while bombing this thing. So I'm turning into him. And you always want to attack from this side. You never want to attack broadside, because it's harder to drop your bombs. So as you see, you dive down, you drop them, go in third person, just watch the explosion, and man, would you look at that. You're all done. But now all the AA fire is opening up. Luckily there's no flak, because flak would just one-shot this plane. I think a one-shot's everything, basically. But I think one time I kind of survived, I was just missing a wing. But the explosion unfortunately alerted the other pilot, so he's going to come at me on a head-on-head. Huge mistake to go head-on-head against the Dauntless, because the Dauntless lands his shots. Now, I don't know what he was thinking when he pulled that back turn like that, because now I have a clear angle on him. And he's in the Claude, which is probably like the worst Japanese plane to possibly get in. You're probably better off in the Kate. The Kate can have a torpedo, which is very effective. And also you can kind of dogfight with it, but actually, never mind. It doesn't even dogfight at all unless you're in arcade mode. So right now I'm going to turn into him, and he loosened up his turn, giving me a good, clear shot if I can angle myself onto him. And once I get that angle, I can just open it up and maybe land some shots. But unfortunately, it was too tight of a turn, and I couldn't land any of those. So I'm just going to keep turning with them, doing my series of high and lows. And I'm trying to force them closer to the ground, because it's also easier to see the Claude if they're closer to the ocean, because clouds will sort of blend them in. So there he is. I don't know what he was thinking when he did this. I think he was just trying to get on the right turn. So I'm going to turn into him, because if I turned left there, I would have been destroyed. If he saw me, he would have turned into me, but that would have been really bad. So now I see him. He's going straight. I think he's trying to run away, because he is faster, but unfortunately for him, his aileron got shot off, and then I just strafed him out. So he's gone. Now my next objective is to land and get out of there, because right now I'm pretty much useless, and I'm running low on fuel, because I only bring 50% of fuel with me, because first of all, it's a lighter load, and this thing's as heavy as it is. And also, I think it gives you, I'm not sure if this is true, but it can, I mean, if you have less fuel, it's less fuel to burn if you're catching on fire. So maybe it decreases your chance of catching on fire. Because once when you're on fire, you're kind of screwed. It doesn't go out. So right now I'm just trying to get out of there and land. And sometimes if you're in a dogfight, especially in arcade mode, you want to jettison all your bombs because it'll decrease your load, so you'll have a better chance at turning and you'll gain more speed, and it'll be a lot easier to dogfight. In this case, I didn't because I wanted to drop my bombs on to that ship because that's my main objective. And sometimes it's worth dropping the bombs on the ship instead of going for a kill, because this thing, you know, you don't want to go for kills on this thing. You want to drop bombs and help the team out. So right now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna RTB back to base, and I'll see you guys there on the landing. So right now you can sort of see the black dot again, which means there's a plane or a gun there. And I know that one's friendly because he looks like he's landed. And he also looks like he's having trouble taking off. He just went in the grass. And there he goes, he blew up. So, once when you're over the mountains, you want to start decreasing your throttle. And you also want to put your flaps up to steady your plane out a bit. And when you get close enough, you want to release your gears, because the hook won't work unless you're on an aircraft carrier, so you can't instantly stop. And you don't want to overshoot it, especially if you're to land on the one on my right, because otherwise you'll just go straight into the water. And if you do miss your target, as long as you don't crash, then you can always just drive there. Like, you just turn your throttle up and don't even take off, just drive. And I sometimes do that if I have to. So right now I'm coming in a bit too fast, but I don't want to go too slow because this thing stalls very easily, and at this altitude you don't want to stall. However, this plane will probably perform pretty well at a low altitude because the air is much thicker there, and thicker air usually means better control of your plane. So right now I'm slowing down quite a bit, but I don't want to overshoot the target. So my gear's down now. I'm using my rudder to change my position to make slight changes in movement. And you want to make sure you do this because otherwise you could possibly flip or something like that. And you want to make sure you're very, like, when you're doing your rudder, you don't want to do it too much because you can flip your plane or you can spin it out. You don't want to do that. Make sure that you have your flaps all the way out because otherwise you won't slow down enough sometimes. So as you can see, we are reloaded and rearmed, and we're all fixed up now, even though we didn't take any damage that whole. We chased off 2 planes, went through all that anti-aircraft, and didn't take a single bullet. Mission successful. If you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the Bros Films channel, and if you want more of this, comment down below and like it, and I'll probably do more of this because I enjoy making this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time on the Bros Films channel.